I'll start by acknowledging that my actions may not have been entirely right in the traditional sense, but I don't regret them at all. I took a decisive step because my sleep was being severely disrupted, and the situation was becoming unbearable. I felt like I was being pushed to my limits, and there was no end in sight. My upstairs neighbor has been having an affair for about 4 months now. Initially, I was unaware of the specifics of her personal life, but it soon became evident that something was amiss. The disturbances began with frequent, loud noises during the late hours of the night. The sounds were so pronounced that they were hard to ignore. These disruptions were particularly troubling because they were inconsistent with the usual, albeit not always quiet, environment of our building. The disturbances became increasingly frequent, particularly around the time when the affair seemed to be at its peak. It became clear that the man visiting her was not just a casual acquaintance. The pattern of his visits and the timing suggested that he was involved in something more significant. His car, which often had baby car seats in it, was a crucial clue. This detail, coupled with his inconsistent overnight stays, strongly indicated that he was married with a family, making it likely that this was an affair. Before the affair became a significant issue, I had already had several problems with my neighbor. Her behavior had been disruptive from the start. For instance, she would frequently throw loud parties on Monday nights, which was particularly aggravating given that Monday is typically a workday for most people. These parties were often filled with young adults, many of whom were in their early 20s. The noise from these gatherings was loud enough to penetrate through my walls, making it difficult for me to relax or get a good night's sleep. Additionally, there were other disturbances such as her coming home late, around 2 a.m., and walking around her condo while making loud phone calls. Her pacing and phone conversations were so loud that it felt like they were happening right in my own living room. Despite my attempts to address these issues directly with her, she showed little regard for my concerns. I approached her several times, hoping for a reasonable discussion about noise levels and mutual respect, but each attempt was met with indifference. Given her lack of response to direct communication, I had to escalate the matter to the building association. I filed complaints about the loud parties and the constant noise disturbances. The association took some action to address the parties, but it didn't completely resolve the problem. The overall experience left me feeling frustrated and helpless, as it seemed like there was no easy way to manage the ongoing disruptions. As the noise disturbances continued, I noticed a new pattern emerging. It was clear that her affair was not just an occasional event, but a regular part of her life. The man involved would visit her late at night, and their encounters were loud enough to be heard through the walls. It was not only the noise, but also the realization that these were likely intimate and private moments being broadcast to the rest of the building. The situation reached a point where my sleep and overall well-being were significantly impacted. I decided to investigate further to understand more about this man and the nature of the affair. My primary aim was to find a solution that would bring an end to the nightly disturbances. I began by looking up the man's car license plate, hoping to gather more information. Using the license plate, I was able to track down an address. This was no easy task. It required some digging and the use of online tools to pinpoint the location. Once I had the address, I conducted further research to obtain his name. This led me to social media platforms, where I was able to identify both the man and his wife. I created a throwaway social media account to maintain anonymity and to avoid any potential backlash. With this account, I messaged the man's wife, explaining the situation as clearly and objectively as possible. I included details about the disturbances and my concerns. My message was not meant to be vindictive, but rather to inform her of the affair that was affecting me. Following my message to the wife, the disturbances ceased. I haven't seen the man around for several weeks now, and my sleep has significantly improved. The quiet has been a relief, and I finally feel like I'm able to enjoy some peace in my home. Looking back, I understand that my actions may have seemed extreme. The ethical implications of exposing someone's private matters are significant, and I'm aware that such actions can have unintended consequences. However, my primary motivation was to resolve a problem that was severely impacting my quality of life. While my actions were aimed at solving a personal issue, they also involved infringing on the privacy of others. The ethical considerations of exposing someone's affair are complex and can have serious repercussions. There might have been other ways to address the noise issues without involving such personal matters. For instance, pursuing additional measures with the building association or exploring soundproofing solutions could have been viable alternatives. The potential fallout from my actions could affect future interactions with neighbors, or even have broader implications for me personally. It's essential to consider the long-term consequences of such decisions. My actions were driven by the need to protect my own well-being. Ensuring that personal health and peace of mind are maintained is crucial, but it's also important to navigate such situations with care and consideration for others. In conclusion, while the situation was resolved and my immediate problem was addressed, it's important to approach similar issues with a balance of empathy, ethics, and practicality. Understanding the broader implications of one's actions and exploring all available options before taking drastic steps can lead to more balanced and fair resolutions.